Hi, Debbie from Missio Cosmetics. Today we're going to be having a quick look at what I like to call the 3 V's, and that is vessel, viscosity and volume, and how those three apply not only to the motor blocks we're using, but to the tool or accessory that we're attaching to the motor block and also the product that we're making. Now, it doesn't matter if we use our 250p or our 250f, the recommended volume for homogenizing for both of these motor blocks is up to 4 litres. Now, when we say up to 4 litres, we're talking about 4 litres as being a low viscosity, such as water. So we can see here we have a 2 litre beaker, and I do apologise, I don't have a 4 or 5 litre beaker to be able to demonstrate up to 4 litres, but we can see how this is going to apply. So I put my 250p into the beaker, start at speed 1, which we should always do, increase up to, well, already I'm not even on speed 3, and we can see how that is agitating the entire beaker. So we can see why it is recommended to be able to homogenize up to 4 litres in low viscosity. Where things start to change in terms of volume and the effectiveness of the rotor stator is when the viscosity does start to change. Now, we're talking viscosity such as serums or light lotions, then the rotor stator doesn't have too much of a problem with that. But if we're talking about more of your cream and your balm viscosities, then that does have a direct impact on the efficiency and capability of the rotor stator. The rotor stator is designed to operate in low viscosities. So what we're going to do now is start to have a look at the efficiency and effectiveness of the rotor stator in a couple of varying viscosities. One thing to keep in mind when we are using our rotor stator is quite often it is being used at low viscosity anyway, irrespective of what the final viscosity of the product is. So that is something that is crucial to keep in mind as well. So now I've added some xanthan gum to the water that was here. Yes, it's got fish eyes, but it doesn't matter because it's not a final product and we're not going to be showing it off to anybody. Now, the viscosity of this is probably much like something that could pump out of a airless pump jar or bottle. It doesn't drip, so it could be a cream or a serum or a light lotion. Now, for this, I do have to increase the speed for it to be able to interact with the entire volume of the liquid in the beaker. Does it do this volume? Yes, it does. However, this is where the vessel is important as well. I actually have to manually move the motor block around and up and down to ensure that all of the fluid is fully homogenized. So if I was to do up to 4 litres at this kind of viscosity, I would select either the 190 rotor stator, so the longer rotor stator, or I would have a wider vessel and move the motor block around to ensure that all of the liquid was fully incorporated and homogenized at that kind of viscosity. Next, we're going to be looking at a much thicker viscosity and why we would not be using that at up to 4 litres. Okay, so now we've increased the viscosity to almost a balm viscosity. So you can see that, yes, it is slowly working its way through the actual volume of product in here. However, I do have to move the rotor stator around the entire vessel to make sure that all of the liquid is actually being homogenized. So that is where we have to apply our 3 C's, which is critical thinking, common sense, to the capacity that we're wanting to make. When we're looking at the 3 C's, when we're talking about our volume, viscosity and vessel when applied to a motor block, as well as the tool or accessory that we're using. Keeping in mind that the tool or accessory, in this case the rotor stator, is designed for low viscosity. We always pay attention to our motor block. Like, I can tell that this viscosity is very high for this motor block. You can feel that the motor block is heating up, so it is causing strain on the motor block. So I wouldn't put my motor through that for 4 litres. So again, we apply the 3 V's, which is the vessel, viscosity and volume when we're talking about what products that we're wanting to make, depending on what motor block that we've got, and also applying the 3 C's, which is capacity applied with common sense and using some critical thinking.